Well, hey, teacher friends. Check this out. You didn't expect to hear from me today, did you? Christina Whitlock here, your APTF. That's Anytime Piano Teacher Friend. And after 128 episodes of the Beyond Measure podcast, I am releasing my very first bonus episode. It's such a historic moment, right? I'm just kidding, but it really is fun to talk to you midweek rather than on Monday mornings. Anyway, I just had a couple of things I wanted to share with you that didn't quite fit in the context of a regular episode. So I just thought I would couple them all together and release this little bonus episode. Welcome! So, first of all, I wanted to take a moment and pay homage to a recent loss in piano teacher world. Menachem Pressler left this earth on May 6th of this year. And I didn't even study with Pressler myself. I mean, I met him once and I've listened to his recordings more times than I can ever count. But I can all but promise you that if you are a classically trained musician, that you are a product of his influence in some way or another. I wanted to take a moment and honor Menachem's memory today, particularly because I referenced him and his impressive pedigree in this very first episode of the Beyond Measure podcast. In that episode, I introduced you to my obsession with legacy in our profession. How the thing that fascinates me more than anything else about teaching is the way that we hold such impact over one another for generations to come. The things that you and I find ourselves repeating time and time again each week are generally all products of influence. We all have our things, right? Like the aspects of making music that we feel most strongly about. And very often, those things have trickled down from our teachers, which came down from their teachers, and on it goes. So, in that very first episode of this podcast, I mentioned Menachem Pressler's musical genealogy, which is located on his personal website. I will link it again in the show notes for this episode because in that graphic, he traces his own musical lineage back through a wildly impressive pedigree. And as I watched others share online about his passing earlier this month, it just struck me how many of us, even those who never studied directly with Pressler, are only 1 or 2 degrees separated from him. And what's just even more mind blowing to me is this. Now that online content creation is what it is, we all learn from so many people all of the time. It used to be, if you thought of the people that you studied under, it was a pretty short list of teachers that you took actual lessons with, right? Well, that part continues to be true. But at the same time, there are so many of us learning from others online without ever even meeting them. And that means that the power of a teacher's influence just keeps expanding beyond the realm of what we can even understand. Isn't that incredible? Believe me, I am not always a fan of the internet because it's done a lot of harm. But I will say, especially in my own experience of hosting this podcast, the friends that I have made and the things that I continue to learn from my audience as we engage in communications each week, I mean, just wow. There are people who listen to this podcast that I will never know. Although I do hope that you will drop me an email or come find me on social media. But I am in a position where every single week I hear from another teacher who tells me that I have helped them see this profession in a new light, or I helped them find some kind of trick they found helpful. And that, I don't know, it's just its own combination of humbling and mind blowing. So, this idea of being able to learn from one another so freely, that's actually what brings me to my second point today. Because as we head into a big season change here, heading into the month of June, I want to speak to those who find yourselves questioning things about your teaching. Maybe you're questioning your effectiveness as a teacher. Maybe you're questioning why studio families don't seem to respect or appreciate you. Perhaps you're questioning why you don't feel excited to teach lessons anymore, or whether or not you are focused on the right things at all. Maybe you can't help but feel like there's more to this teaching thing than you have figured out thus far. And maybe your questions are different. Like maybe you know that you want to make changes in your studio, but you find that process to be completely overwhelming. Well, I have been there and done that and worried about all those things. It's a lot. And it's a terrible position to be in where you feel like you want to make a difference in the musical lives of others and you recognize it as a really good thing, but you can't help but feel like something is missing. And all of those questions, actually, are why I developed my Studio Foundations course. The Studio Foundations course is a self led video series that walks teachers through 17 reflection lessons that are going to help you discover your strengths as a teacher and thus your true place in this profession of ours. I originally designed this course to be completely self paced so teachers could work through it however slowly or quickly they desired. But one lesson we all know too well is this, that if you have all the time in the world to accomplish something, it just gets easier to put off, right? So, this summer, we are going to work through the content together over the course of 6 weeks. I am encouraging any studio music teachers who are interested in some low key, low cost professional development to check out this course. I'm just asking for 1 hour of your time each week for 6 weeks. And this course is designed for studio teachers of any instrument. So be sure to encourage your other teacher friends to check it out. You know, whether you realize it or not, one of my guiding philosophies on this podcast is to help teachers discover answers that already lie within them. I trust that you know a lot about making music. And my goal here is to share with you my experiences and my perspectives, and then let you decide how that fits into your world. And the Studio Foundations course is built on that exact same premise. I talk about things like avoiding comparison to and judgment of other teachers because that's a total waste of energy. I talk about how students will prioritize pitch over rhythm like 99% of the time, and why that means that we have to emphasize rhythm in more ways than has traditionally been done before. I call out what I consider to be the hardest truth of our profession, along with what I consider to be our most important job. We talk about approaching music as a beginner and play as the work of the music student. And I put my own spin on two of Francis Clark's most famous approaches to teaching. I mean, it's a compilation of a lot of good stuff, friends. And this summer, we are going to tackle it all together in about 1 hour every week. You're still going to be completely self guided on this, but Beginning June the 12th, anyone enrolled in the course will be delivered materials each week that should add up to about an hour's work. And that hour includes the time you're going to spend watching videos, as well as the time you will spend completing the accompanying workbook pages. Because, guess what? The workbook is really where the magic happens. That is where, again, you will get the opportunity to take my ideas and actually flesh them out and see how they can fit into your own teaching. I am not here to tell you how to do everything. I am just sharing the ways that I have found to stay happy and effective in this profession, and I want to help you do the same. So, friends, that's that. I truly believe this 6 week investment of 6 hours of low key professional development for your summer is going to help you feel refreshed and full of energy for the start of the next school year. And, oh yeah, anyone purchasing the course will have access to a private Facebook group with me where we can work out all of our many feelings together. You can register for this course for only $129, no coupon code even needed, at christinawhitlock.com/foundations. Or you can just check out the link that's waiting for you in the show notes for this episode. Think it over and be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can email me anytime at beyondmeasurepodcast@gmail.com. Or you can always head over to christinawhitlock.com/contact. Whether it's my course or something else, I do hope you'll take the opportunity this summer to invest in yourself and your professional satisfaction, okay? Go do something that is going to help your future self come back to teaching in the fall ready to go. All right? Thank you, my friends. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention, especially here today on my first ever bonus episode. Let's end it all, as usual, with a toast. Teacher friends from all around the world. I just love the way our energy shifts around during new seasons. There is so much to look forward to this time of year. For me, that's always clearing time in my calendar for what matters most. And this year, that included coming up with an entirely new approach to summer lessons so I could spend more time with my kids, as well as investing in attending the NCKP National Conference in Chicago this July. I challenge you to consider what is going to help you focus on things that light you up. And then go make it happen. Like, no more excuses, okay? Because the truth is, the amount of influence that we carry in this world is kind of mind blowing. Teachers impact so many students over the course of our careers. And I know that we understand our influences on those students who go on to pursue music as big parts of their lives, but I want you to think about all of the other students. I promise you, friends, our influence on this world is significant. It really matters. So don't be shy about making investments in your own professional development. We should be doing just that. Cheers to recognizing the importance of what we do, friends, and committing to doing it better than ever in the years to come. Hear, hear. Thanks again for joining me today, friends. Go check out the show notes for this episode if you want to learn more about the Studio Foundations course, or if you want to see that impressive musical genealogy of Menachem Pressler. Come follow me on socials at Beyond Measure Podcast, and don't be shy to introduce yourself, okay? I'd love to chat. Onward and upward as we continue building those legacies. Thanks so much, friends.